Glad to know you're still with us. Well, joining us for this conversation is Alex Okonkwo, a security expert and a public affairs analyst. He joins us virtually. Hello, Alex. Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, good morning to everybody and a happy new year to the studio and the rest of Nigeria.
All right. Happy New Year to you, too. Well, very quickly, one of the things that the NSAS protest brought to the fore was the welfare of police officers, and it was front part of the conversation during that time. And my first question to you will be, between then and now, can you say there has been any significant change in the welfare of the Nigerian police men?
There are two different things a little bit. Initially, the emphasis was about police brutality of a particular unit on Nigerians, especially the youths. That has not necessarily improved, I would say. You can see there have been killings here and there. So, but yes, the awareness does exist, because we have seen that now dog watchers are watching what government and police people do, and police are reporting more actions that they take, and their PPROs are working more efficiently, and policemen are being punished. Just a few days ago, some set of policemen who harassed a lady and took her mobile phone have been suspended, and their case is on. So you see, these things, the changes unfortunately are incremental. It is not because we have rioted 2 years ago that all of a sudden we have now become Denmark. No, we are not yet even US. So we are still far behind. That is for the NSAS. In terms of the welfare of the police,
which is the focus?
The budget is better this year. This year we're 2023, we're in 2023. The budget is better. The welfare plan is to improve where they stay, which is the barracks and their training and a few things like that. You know, as we speak, most police agents buy their uniform, they pay for it and go out. So all those things are not acceptable. I mean, how much does a constable in the police to be able to afford all those things? So the changes, unfortunately, will be slower than the anger. And the Nigerians have to get used to that. We will not see changes until maybe the end of the next regime. I'm talking of 4 to 8 years from now. So, yes, it's good to create awareness with emphasis, but unfortunately for us, we're not going to see the changes anytime soon. These things take time. First of all, we have to recruit more policemen, as you know. That means more budget. That subsequently means more tax to be paid by Nigerians, already by those few people paying taxes. Because you do know that most Nigerians don't pay their income.
Let me come in here very quickly. You're saying that we probably need to recruit more policemen. But the question is, if the ones on ground are not well taken care of, because we're looking at their regulations, that's the laws guiding their activities, and we're also looking at the welfare. I only just made reference to the NSAS, and that was why I said, among other things, one of the things it brought to the fore was the welfare of policemen. Okay, so now still talking about what you said, are we saying? Do you think it would be nice to talk about, employing more or getting more people, hiring more people into the force, when we have not even taken care of the ones who are in the force? And then when we talk about welfare, we are beginning to see the ripple effect, the implication of not having that sort of welfare for them. I mean, you have talked about some of the things that they have been doing and all that. I would like you to speak to that.
Well, yes, you're very correct. It can be scary to realize you have to recruit more policemen when the ones that are already there have not been taken care of. But these two things must go side by side. We are understaffed. So it's why I think the situation is, the status quo is fantastic. We are understaffed. We need definitely, at least in the next 10 years, to recruit 25,000 to 30,000 policemen yearly, because the population is going to grow. One thing I must tell you is that when the UN tells us we're going to be 400 million in 20 years, it is not just because we should share biscuits between ourselves. It is for us to project. It means we have to build that many houses. It means we need more roads. It means we need more hospitals. It means we need more schools. It means we need more security agents. So we will have to do that of recruiting and also do that of welfare and training. They go hand by hand. It definitely means that the police budget we speak of today will have to be doubled. What that also means is that Nigerians will have to pay more taxes. I didn't say anything that cannot be understood easily. These things go together. If you are going to increase, you we have to increase the resources. And it's not oil. Obviously, it's not petroleum. We'll see it now. So Nigerians will have to get used to the fact of paying taxes, which is what everybody does in the Western world. I know it's something we're not used to here. People make their money. The parallel economy is very strong. But we have to get used to contributing to making government work. So you are right in posing the problem that how can we really increase? But we don't have a choice. What is going on now is that a lot of areas are undergoverned. And when we say undergoverned, doesn't mean they don't have senators. It means there's no police presence, there's no security presence. You can do what you want. You have agreements, you have allies everywhere. And it's not just in Lagos. I just came back from the Southeast, and it's happening there as well. So we definitely need to recruit more. Don't forget, every year, 10,000 to 15,000 policemen retire. So I'm even telling you on the basis of the numbers we have now. But if you consider that people retire every year, then you have to double what I just told you in terms of recruitment. So you see where I'm coming from. So it's not a thing we have a choice. These are things we have to do, and we have to fund it. Whether the president is from APC or PDP or Labour Party, it does not change anything. It will not. Nigerians will be so disappointed. Nothing changes unless we have more funds, more resources, recruit better, train better.
All right. So let me come in here, Mr. Alex. Is it that there's somebody not actually telling us the truth, or that someone somewhere is actually truncating or siphoning this money that is meant to really take care of the welfare of the police commission? Because you will agree with me, a couple of times the government will come up on media saying that so much has been done to this commission in terms of looking really into their needs, like their trainings, exposures, increasing of their salary, and even down to the uniform, like you said, that some of them buys with their money. What exactly is happening? Is it that the government is really doing what they ought to do, but someone somewhere whom this responsibility is entrusted with is not really making sure that these things are really being dispensed, or that the government is actually lying to us? I really want to get that. Because if this commission is well taken care of, why is it that we still see the police officers, engaging in all sorts of practices out there, brutalizing people and what have you? What can you say about that?
Well, the reality is this. In your question, you hit the nail several times. Of course, there's a bit of everything you said. I will start with the beginning. First of all the funds for the police are insufficient, largely insufficient. Have you gone to any recent police station? Have you gone to a police station recently and see how nothing works? We don't have generators, we don't have anything. How do you expect the police to now secure the area? The police vehicles, you have to pay for petrol to get them to come and see you if you call them. That is when the vehicle is working. And I'm talking of all over the country. And Lagos is even better. You have to go out of Lagos and go to a smaller state to realize what I'm talking about. Now, the governors in each state are helping. A lot of governors support the police. But that is not the way to go about it. That is almost like benevolence. We are meeting them when they feel like they support. It should be statutory. We should all be paying a bit more taxes. That is the first thing. I say underfunded. The second thing is really new is that, yes, obviously we suffer corruption. The police suffers corruption as well. So in some of the funds that are supposed to be meant for welfare are being siphoned or illegally used, or not properly used, I would say, in appropriation. So all these things happen because we're still Nigerians, no matter what we say. The third thing is that for a long time I was on the program 2 days ago, we have a backlog of bad policing. And this comes from the history of the military rule we used to have. During the military era, they funded more the military and less the police, and for obvious reasons, because of course there was a scare of coup attempts. So the military was well funded while the police was underfunded, undertrained. This is as far back as IB's regime in the 1980s. So we have that backlog. We are still battling with it. With over 770-something local governments, and that means 770-something DPOs and police stations and all that, we have a serious backlog. Even if we were to develop 10 at a time, you can imagine how many years it's going to take us. So we have these three things you mentioned are all part of the problem. It's going to be a long process, unfortunately, for us to get it right.
All right, let me come in again. If you're saying crystal clear that some of these fundings are not really enough, looking at the deplorable situations in some of these police stations, and again, it trickles down to a whole lot of factors, And I feel that's the reason we're having all of these things happening around the force. Where do you think we are headed with this kind of situation? Because it's going to boil, down to the common man, whereby they have to suffer for what the government have really not been able to do effectively well. You understand what I'm trying to say? Whereby a police officer stops you for no reason, but wants to pretend like he's doing his duty, and at the end of it, he's demanding something from you. Of course, if these people are well taken care of, all of these things won't happen. So where are we headed with this kind of situations, looking at the danger it portends?
Okay, I can give you some internal information. What we know is that there's a process of revitalizing the police. It's actually on as we speak.
Okay.
It is very slow, I must confess, but it's actually on. What that means, if I put it in layman's terms, is that there is a generation of policemen that have to be outphased. I'm talking of those who are actually the rank and file of the police. These were people who were recruited maybe 15, 20 years ago. They didn't have the proper training. You will have to be allowed to retire. You cannot sack 35,000 policemen. You know that will leave a void in our police system. So what is happening is that we're going to have a set of very educated young policemen in the near future. Unfortunately, it became a question of time because you cannot sack, like I said, the old ones. If you look very well, you see that you have a lot of issues with old-style policemen. It's not that they're necessarily old in age, but they have this old style, they reach you, they do chop knuckles, and they want to ask you for something. No. I mean, I'm sure you've not seen any ASP try to do that with you, any young ASP try to do that with you. So there's a generation of policemen that have to go for a fresh one to come in. Now, people that are attracted to the police today are attracted for the welfare and the benefits. Of course, the policeman is never going to make 1 million naira a year, so he cannot be the salary. But the benefits have to be there. And these things are being put in place as we speak. This is an inside information. It is very slow, I must confess. It is not properly funded as everything in Nigeria, but that change is going to come. So it will be a bit of patience till we get to that level.
Okay.
We are coming from a very, very, very uneducated police. We've had several kinds of policemen being recruited. I'm talking about rank and file now. While the officers are actually doing very well, most of them go to the academy in Kano, they stay 4 or 5 years, and they come out with a graduate degree and all that. So we're going to get there, my brother.
Okay.
It's just that
Let me come in here.
it will take so much time.
Let me come in here. I mean, we have that saying that evil communication corrupts good manners. Let's hope that will not happen in this case. But still looking at the implication of some of these things, the welfare not being good enough. Now, the implication to a very large extent has been extortions. And apart from extortions, we also see situations where it seems that some of the personnel of this force, some of them are somehow complicit when it comes to some election malpractices. Talk about rigging. I mean, by rigging, I'm talking about looking away while something is ongoing, or talk about situations where, some of these people, beg your pardon, some of these politicians are known to be carrying out certain acts, probably vote buying, and they are being protected somehow by some members of this force. Now, the question will be, is this as a result of welfare not being enough, or is it as a result of the fact that they have the covering, maybe federal might or something? What exactly is the cause of that? Situations where we see men of the force being complicit in political issues or electoral issues.
Well, no, it is not really just because of welfare. I mean, we must tell the truth to our faces. In Nigeria, we live in a very corrupt society, so it is simply down to corruption. The policeman or the security agent who is being used for political reasons is also somebody who wants to do so and for monetary gains. Now, what I know is that the ICCES, which is an interagency consultative committee on electoral security, which is under the INEC chairman actually, have different bodies, including the judiciary, the government at the local level, and the police. They are all involved in this committee, so to say. What they do is that weekly they check the situations around the country. What is happening in Lagos is different from what is happening in Imo State for obvious reasons. Imo State is more violent. So some of these things that you mentioned are being tackled weekly as they come up. Now, the point is, like in everything in society, the crime factor is faster than the solution factor. Of course, things have to happen before you can say you are punishing somebody. Of course, prevention can be done. But what I'm trying to say is that we always be 1 week slower than so you see people going into campaign, having policemen harass others and all that. It's always been happening in this country. I can tell you it's happening a bit less now than in 2011 and 2015. we had serious violence due to this kind of cases that you mentioned in 2019, 2015, and 2011. It's a bit less now. What we have now, and that's what making Nigeria angry, is that it's overlaying with the regular insecurity which we had already, the Boko Haram, the kidnapping, and the banditry. Those two kind of violence, when you mix them together, it creates a bombshell. It's not that there's more police corruption, it's not true. What is happening is that we also have the banditry joining kidnapping, and the politicians they tried to kill the few politicians. You've seen recently that they killed like security men of the politician, and the man managed to escape. Those things have increased because the regular violence has increased. So it's not because of welfare of the police, like it is simply because we still have corrupt eggs in the police, like we have in the customs service, like we probably have in the military, and like we have in the civil service. So it is a Nigerian issue, not a welfare issue of the police.
Okay. Well, very quickly, let's delve into regulations now. We see some of the laws of the police force, which somehow seem to be against the women. Well, that's for a lot of persons who are, who are into gender-based violence and gender-based issues or human rights issues. For example, we have a situation where a woman in the police force was just joined, cannot get married until after 3 years. And we also have the one where a lady or a woman in the police force, cannot get pregnant outside marriage. But these things, the men probably would do any of these things, and they do not matter. What are your thoughts, really?
Okay, well, first things first, let's clarify everything. That law, although it sounds gender discriminatory, was not intended for that. It's not a law, by the way, it's a regulation of the police,
yes.
And there are several of them. What one side of the country would say is that if you do the regulation of where you are going to work, you either decide to stay there or leave, whether you're a woman, a man, a dog, or a cow. If you know the regulation of wherever you are intended to work, and if you don't accept it, you can leave. That's the first thing. The second thing is this is a police regulation, and we're talking about regulation 127 precisely, which says, and I'm not paraphrasing, it says that if a single that an unmarried woman cannot have pregnancy while in service, otherwise she will be sacked and can only be readmitted under the direction of the IG directly. Now, that regulation sounds really gender unfair because, to be sincere, we are in a very particular period and you cannot mix such legislations, as it were. But it's a regulation of the police that has existed, and it's in the police act, so everybody can access it. We cannot use this particular case to judge that particular regulation because it's been on for a while. Actually, people don't know. Some cadets from the police college get pregnant while in the police college and they get sacked. There are several cases like that. Very many cases like that happen. So what the police has done is that they sack them. Whenever I say sack, I mean they actually dismiss them from the service. This particular case has taken another turn because civil societies have taken up with it. She has gone to court and she won recently, I think, 5 million naira in damages. I will tell you also the police act I mentioned is being examined by the National Assembly as we speak. That's the entire police act, not just this particular case. The entire police act is being examined as we speak. So these things are being checked. I will not quickly jump on it and say it's a gender equality thing, because at the end of the day, there must be a reason why they don't want that to happen. There is also
why you said that there must be a reason? What do you think? What can be the reason? I mean, is there anything you think probably sounds logical that could be the reason for such gender discriminatory regulation?
Well, I don't know exactly how that regulation came about, but I'm suspecting that the police is looking at the possibility to have that person in service and then take charge of what will I say, the expenses, the cost, and things like that. Or rather, the person will not be efficient and still be in the police. The difference here probably is that if the person is married, that is just me saying I'm not representing the police. If the person is married, he is probably under the tutel of the husband and there are no affairs behind it. I mean, we're assuming there are no affairs. I'm talking about a superior sleeping with an inferior. You see what I'm saying? I hope you get where I'm coming from. The assumption is that it's not a top officer or rather a more superior officer sleeping with this young recruit or so to say, or police cadet or whatever. Because the assumption is that if she's married, she's at a certain level and she's married to her husband, and then pregnancy seems to be normal because we are still pretending to be in a very Christian a very religious society. I said pretending. And so that might be the background. Otherwise, I don't see any functional reason why a married woman is different from an unmarried woman. That's me speaking. But if it is in their regulation, and you read it before signing the form that you want to join the police, you can say you don't want to join. I mean, it's actually quite straightforward. And then you can do the battle legally from the outside and say, why are they discriminating against women? That battle should have been taken up by the entire society, not just by her. And that's where I'm coming from. But once you are in the police, for now, you have to follow the regulations, unfortunately.
All right, Mr. Alex, sorry. Mr. Alex, sorry, we're running behind time, but in wrapping up this conversation, I would just want you to respond within 30 seconds or a minute to this question. And it's just about moving forward, in order for us to have an effective policing in the country. What do you think the government needs to do? Because I am thinking that maybe the government should have some sort of police agents or some agency who are saddled with the responsibility of moving around in all of these strategic points where we have the police officers who carry out the stop and search operations and activities, and maybe also have some sort of CCTV cameras, positioned strategically in all of these places so that they can really checkmate some of the things that the police do undercover, and then bring them on air, on the media, for people to see how these guys are being dismissed. Don't you think to some extent it will curtail some of these excesses we have, in the police force? And also deter others who might be thinking into going into some of this, because definitely we know there are some people whom you cannot take away from corruption or from some kind of, practices, except some very stringent measures are taken. What's your opinion on that in just 30 seconds to 1 minute?
Oh yes, I do agree with what you mentioned. The only problem is that we already have an internal police, so to say, that control and check what police officers and agents do around the country. Yes, we can support them with camera, but don't forget all these things come back to the Police Service Commission, which is the hierarchy of the police in terms of looking at police affairs. If we don't get it right as in honest people, dishonest people will spoil a very good plan, like what you just said now. At the end of the camera, we will still be a policeman. It is not like the VAR in football. At the end of the camera are referees, and if they are not good, they will still get that decision wrong. So training, and education. We would have to massively invest in training. We would have to get better officers who will treat the citizens as people that they are working for. These are civil servants, by the way. Police are still civil servants. They are serving the people. But we are not there yet, because we are not there in every sector. I mean, have you gone to their paperwork recently and seen how the customs people will treat you? So we are not there yet where people realize they are serving us as their customers. But I am confident that the way generations are turning around between leadership and the citizens, we will get there in the near future.
All right.
It is back to training and education.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex Okonkwo, for sharing your thoughts with us on the show today. All right. Well, we've been speaking with Alex Okonkwo, security expert and public affairs analyst. We've been talking about police welfare and regulations. I guess we had a great time listening to him. And you did also. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll dive into the next conversation for today. Stay with us.